Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, Pakistan is fighting a critical war against the enemies of peace, stability and development, the inimical forces of evil and terrorism. The recent surge in terrorist activities, especially in our provinces of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, claimed numerous innocent but precious lives. But our armed forces are steadfast and fighting bravely against all odds, especially these terrorist entities who are operating from the third country. The recent reports and evidences surfaced in different scenarios are alarming, suggesting that not only the terrorists are utilizing the Afghan soil, but also enjoying the safe havens there, and they are utilizing the most modern weapons, especially of US origin. Some of the weapons are the leftover and some of the weapons are straight away smuggled into Afghanistan. And it is also alarming that from the last couple of years, Indian facilitation and support at the state level to the terrorist organizations within Afghanistan surged enormously. If we just examine the terrorist entities like banned TTP, then the BLA, BLF, Majid Brigade and all others, they are not only utilizing the Afghan soil, but also right now using women and youth for their nefarious designs. They are also using the various tactics like the social media, unfortunately some factions of the traditional media as well, the websites, the gaming platforms, the cryptocurrency, and also lots of other platforms to malign the state of Pakistan nationally and internationally. They are also using some of the political entities like so-called Balochistan Yakjehti movement or Balochistan Solidarity movement. For this, they are actually portraying it a human rights issue and getting sympathies internationally. Now, the terrorist entities are actually systematically attacking the state of Pakistan, its institutions and the core interests, particularly the economic interests and investments. And in that, the Pakistan-China friendship, the Chinese sponsored different projects, particularly the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and the Chinese citizens who are working on these projects. And we have seen the surge in Balochistan particularly. To discuss this very important and grave issue of national interest, we have in our studios Dr. GHULAM MUJADDID. He is a strategic affairs expert. Most welcome to you, Dr. Mujaddid sahab. Thank you very much for your presence. And with him, Muhammad Ali BAIG. He is the South Asian affairs expert. Most welcome to you, BAIG sahab. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
And online joining us, Brigadier retired Syed GHAZANFAR Ali SHAH sahab. He is the defense affairs analyst. Most welcome to you, SHAH sahab. Thank you very much for your presence online. My first question is to you, Dr. GHULAM MUJADDID sahab, that what about the political stability, the national unity, the steadfast support and the complete synchronization with our valiant armed forces, the law enforcement authorities, the police, the CTD, the intelligence agencies? Because what we have seen during and after the Army Public School unfortunate incident in Peshawar, that whole of the nation approach was there and everyone was united to fight this menace of terrorism. So how do you see, because to completely wipe out this scourge and secure a peaceful and prosperous future for Pakistan, it is direly needed right now?
I think you have very rightly introduced the topic as such, and this is very good question that you have raised. Actually, in the modern times, it is not only the armed forces and the law enforcement agencies, it is the society that as a whole, faces the challenges and grabs upon the opportunities that it has.
Definitely.
In our country, it is of paramount importance that we have the political and the societal harmony within ourselves. If there are, let's say, fissures from within, they will definitely be exploited by our enemies or something. So I think that it is a precondition that in case we want to put up, a good fight to our the ones who are challenging our statehood, our society, we have to give them a united front, and there has to be complete stabilization within. I think political differences aside, but those political differences are also for the improvement of the society. They are
Definitely,
not for
definitely, you are absolutely right.
So they are there everywhere, but they should not get into some kind of instability, exclusivity, or things
What
like
you were
this.
saying, basically, I just want to intervene, sorry for interruption, but this Chief Minister of Balochistan, Sarfraz Bukti, has clearly said that right now it is difficult to bifurcate the friend and foe. The situation is like that. So in that particular situation, it is a very critical situation. So in that situation, it is important that people of Pakistan should play their part. Because they are the one who can identify those enemies who are within our society and they are working for the inimical forces.
Absolutely right. If a society is cohesive and inclusive, the challengers to this will not be able to find a space to operate.
Yes.
So that is a precondition that has to be met by Pakistanis. And you are very right that if we are together, we are one nation. I think there will be nobody who will be able to penetrate.
We are alhamdulillah together, we are united,
we are
but
united.
inimical forces and the enemies has the target that first they have to divide and then they have to exploit. So this is the mantra which they are playing actually.
Absolutely.
Muhammad Ali Baig Sahab, why is it so that whenever Pakistan witnessing the stability, attaining economic pace, at least a pace, international community getting confident about Pakistan and investments are getting picking up, inimical forces geared up, particularly their nefarious designs, terrorism starts mounting and attacks on Pakistan and vital and the core interests are always growing. Why is it so?
Well, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Faisal sir, for having me. And before I begin, I'd like to congratulate you for choosing a very important topic. And you'll be delighted to know that our friends in America are watching us right now, especially my friend Emily Thompson. She actually asked me that what you are going to discuss, because it's a very important thing which is happening right now here in Pakistan.
Definitely, US has the very core interest in that
exactly.
as well, because their national security is at stake when something happens in Afghanistan.
Exactly, and we should tell them what exactly is at stake. Right now, our country is back on track. Now we have political stability. Now we have an elected government, and our military establishment as well as our political establishment both are on the same page to root out the vermin of terrorism. And let me be very clear on this thing, that because a lot of people ask us this question afterwards, that what are the challenges actually? No, whenever development happens in Pakistan, unfortunately certain elements, of course they are being supported, as you have mentioned in the introduction section. Yes, India has been playing a vital role in destabilizing Pakistan. And just look at these organizations. I'd like to point out one thing.
And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, their Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, the Interior Minister, and all others, they have admitted it openly and in public that they are doing it.
Yeah, they're doing it. It is most shameful thing that they are admitting it very openly. I'd like to point out one thing in particular, that after we became a part of this war on terror, we were very successful in suppressing the menace of terrorism. But after 2021, you'll be amazed to see the statistics. According to the South Asian Terrorism Portal, after 2021, in just 2022, there were more than 400 attacks claimed by TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And I feel no doubt.
What we call fitna al-Kharij.
Exactly. I must call the B team of Indian Army for that matter. So, and in 2022, in 2023, the attacks which were mounted against the Pakistani people and the Pakistani state apparatus, the number reached to more than around 500, because some of the attacks could not be reported due to certain reasons, because some attacks happen in remote areas where reporting is not that much feasible. So I think that we should be very clear about TTP, and there is a cohesion among them, as Dr. Saab has said very rightly, that this is a problem that is being faced by our society. And our society has a very clear verdict on that. We must not forget the Paigam-e-Pakistan and the National Action Plan in this regard.
And recently, even after an unfortunate incident of Quetta railway station, even our religious figures and all others, they condemn, not only condemn, but they have tried their best to unite the country. And they are very much influential, and they have to do it because it's our national duty. Dr. Ghulam Mujaddid, do you not think that Pakistan's economy, including the CPEC, Gwadar and others, investments, the Chinese nationals, health like polio workers under attack, and the education, there are lots of attacks on the schools, particularly the girls' schools, culture and heritage, because art, literature and archaeological sites, they are under attack, and the religion, the religious leaders, the mosques, the madrasas, they are under attack, and it looks clearly that primarily Pakistan's identity, unity, peace, stability, defense, economy, and the social fabric is under attack of the enemies. So how do you describe overall picture?
I think you have described it very well. It is our societal functioning that is under attack. They want us to not to function as a Pakistani society that we had created for ourselves. And I think this is a very dangerous and very basic and fundamental threat to any nation's existence. Now, we need to understand it. We are already aware, but we need to understand it more, because the contribution of each one of us would matter in this regard.
No doubt about
and,
it. No doubt about it.
That is the path that we are following. We should understand that somebody wants Pakistan to, God forbid, enter into very, very serious situations and all that.
And that will never happen, inshallah.
That is not going to happen. Pakistan is going to stay as, for forever, inshallah. And however, we need to take cognizance of the things. We have great potential.
No doubt.
And there is no problem with us as a whole. It is just that we are being targeted for others' interests.
Definitely.
For others' interests.
Definitely.
Pakistan is a very grand society. We are a very great country. And we, inshallah, we will remain so for times to come.
Your point well taken. Brigadier Retired GHAZANFAR Sahab, how do you see specific attacks against the Chinese nationals, Pakistan's strong resolve to protect Chinese citizens and the projects, and also to bring perpetrators of the previous heinous acts of terrorism to justice, but China looks very concerned. Do you think its enemies, especially India's deliberate strategy to attack Pakistan-China cooperation and the CPEC through proxies like BLA, BLF, TTP, Majid Brigade and all others, as a part of containment China policy?
Thank you very much, Faisal. I will just refer to one report which was published by the Security Council Analytical Support and Sanctions Monitoring Team. And in that report, the headline was that India supports the terrorist group in Balochistan. And they had identified three things in concern with the Fitnah al-Khawarij and all those organizations, BLA, BNA, BRA, Majid Brigade, and whatever you referred to. And they said that India is providing not only the finances, but they are monitoring the training of the terrorists who cross over to Pakistan in cooperation with the Afghan government. Now, what is the Afghan government at that time was not this Taliban government, it was the Karzai government, it was the other government who were prior to that. And there have been number of publications which have taken place. It's not in part of Pakistan, but I'm talking of the international newspaper. And there's no you cannot deny it that India, right from the start, there are two countries who have been opposing CPEC very openly. One is the Americans, they have been opposing the CPEC, and the second is the Indian. And on the India side, Narendra Modi has very openly said, and not only Narendra Modi, but his National Security Advisor, Ajit Kumar Deval, had said openly that we will target the Pakistani citizens.
India against the CPEC, but at that time, you are absolutely right, because at that time, late Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj has a special press conference, had a very special press conference against CPEC and Pakistan-China cooperation. So you are absolutely right on that.
Yes, there was a BNA militant who was arrested Sarfraz Bangalzai. You must have heard his confession which he undertook on the national television. Then you have seen what did the Kulbhushan Yadav said. Kulbhushan Yadav, a serving Indian Navy officer, had very categorically, openly said that I was tasked to connect with the terrorists inside Balochistan. And then you say before that, not only Indian, with the help of these organizations, the militant organization which you're talking about, the irony is the leader of these organizations, whether it is Brandat Mukti, whether it is Harabyar Mari, or whether it is Mehran Mari, they are not in Afghan. They are living in exile in a very posh condition. One is living in Switzerland, one is living in India, and they are excising them from where they are getting money. So India, now at present, I would say, India, with support of the Afghan Fitna Khawarij government. Afghan government is a terrorist government. They are financing terrorism in Pakistan. In your introduction, you had mentioned about the American weapon. What did happen in Panjgur where the military attacked the Panjgur FC base? The thermal imagers were used, American rifles were used, American helmets were used, and all those latest equipment which was held with the American forces, which they had intentionally left in Afghanistan. The Americans knew that this equipment, these weapons are going to fall into the hands of the Fitna al-Khawarij and all those terrorist organizations. And second thing, what had this Afghan government had done? They had released all those suspected elements who were inside the jails, and in combination on Mangalbagh and those people who were residing in Nuristan, who were residing in Kandahar, who were residing in Mazar-e-Sharif, they organized this group in Kabul under Haqqani network, and they instructed them to launch the terrorist activities in Pakistan.
Brigadier GHAZANFAR Sahab, what your analysis basically about the Indian special envoy for Afghanistan, JP Singh, recently a second visit to Kabul. It was the second visit to Kabul, and his meetings with not only the Afghan interim foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi, but also he met with the defense minister Maulvi Mohammad Yaqub Mujahid, and also with the former president of Afghanistan Hamid Karzai. So and soon after that there was an appointment by the Taliban first consul in Mumbai, Ikramuddin Kamil. So now there is very clear, and it was a very brief visit by JP Singh over there in Kabul. So there were lots of talks. So what meant to have meeting with the defense minister and the former president Hamid Karzai, because we have witnessed during the Karzai era, during the Ashraf Ghani era, what was actually happening from Afghanistan and now from the Afghan Taliban interim authority.
What did the Gulzar Imam said when he was arrested, who was the head of the BRA, and the Aslam Achu, who organized the Majid Brigade, when the documents were required, the Hindu published a report that they were treated in a Bombay hospital and they stayed there for 6 months. So, I mean,
based on the Indian media regarding his treatment in a hospital in India.
And the meeting of the Indian government, I mean, it is sad. It is sad on the fact that if you talk of Afghanistan, they claim that they claim to be very high-handed Muslims. So they are cooperating with the country which is fighting targeting Muslims in Kashmir, and then they are cooperating with each other to target the same faith in Pakistan. And the Afghan government is totally in alliance with the Indian government. That's why these meetings are going on. And the RAW has a state connection with all those people who are sitting in the Afghan government. And whatever is happening in Pakistan, you see, recently there was a report that the strength of the Indian consulate, Indian foreign missions, the Indian consulate which are working in Afghanistan is being enhanced. If that strength is being enhanced, who are the people who are going to those consulates? They all will be those CIA, those RAW officers like, the one who sponsored Angare. There was a man by the name of Angare.
Government is not admitting it that their consulates or their embassy is actually working in Afghanistan. They are saying they are still shut down, but the activities are there. You are absolutely right, but activities are there inside the Indian consulates and the Indian embassy, but apparently they are not admitting it because they have not recognized Afghanistan as a legitimate government over there. So, Brigadier GHAZANFAR said recently a high-profile military-to-military meeting held in Beijing, Pakistan and China given a clear message to further enhance mutual cooperation to counter common enemies working against the peace and development in the region. Pakistan's unwavering commitment to ensure enhanced security for the Chinese nationals, while China assured wholehearted support for Pakistan regarding the counter-terrorism and all other activities related to the peace and development in the region. So how do you see this important meeting that was held in Beijing?
Meeting is very important. And I'm sorry to say, Faisal, you say that Pakistan has a commitment to protect the Chinese national in Pakistan, but repeatedly Chinese nationals in Pakistan are being targeted. And you see what happened last week in Karachi, the Chinese were targeted. So if we say that we are taking the foolproof security of the Chinese, in spite of the threat existing, I'm sorry, we are failing in that. And China has also, remember always, every government has a patience level. If these things keep on happening against the Chinese, what did happen in Dasu? There was an attack, there were two attacks repeatedly at the same place in the same pattern. So are we protecting Chinese? There are a lot of fears about that probably Chinese are not being protected as it is being promised. Just going to their consulate and writing on the register does not matter. We have to ensure. Now,
at least at that front, Pakistan is trying hard to have that. When you have dozens of terrorist organizations working in Afghanistan, some of the countries are wholeheartedly supporting, facilitating, abetting, financing, and all other facilities are available, and a whole country is available for growing those safe havens over there at the Afghan soil. So it is a bit difficult. I think so that we have to be realistic on that approach. Brigadier Sahib, you are absolutely right on that front, but I think so that Pakistan is playing its part but facing a lot of difficulty on that particular front. So Dr. GHULAM, to what extent it is important to improve, as Brigadier Sahib rightly said, that how much it's important to improve the intelligence and the surveillance capabilities, as stressed by the Chief Minister of Balochistan, Sarfraz Bugti, also, to ensure the foolproof security of the Chinese nationals, when recently Chinese Foreign Ministry expressed that China will continue to strengthen cooperation with Pakistan and make all efforts to maintain the security of Chinese nationals, the projects and the institutions. Pakistan is committed on that front, but Pakistan feeling it difficult because of you require financial resources, you require lots of training and capabilities on that, and particularly you have to engage yourself with the latest weaponry, the latest technologies, you require space technology and the communication, and you have to target pinpointedly because of the fear of all collateral damage. So that's why you are emphasizing on the intelligence networks to have pinpointed information on that. So how much it is important to have intelligence and the surveillance on ground?
Okay, I would agree with Brigadier Saab that having said all that you have said, the responsibility of Chinese citizens' protection lies with us.
Definitely. We are not going away from that responsibility.
That it is a horrendous task or it's very difficult to do, that is true.
Yes.
But the basic, it is that. So whatever is the improvement required in the equipment, in the procedures, in the doctrines, that we must do.
Definitely.
The intelligence, the other side, these people have also, as you mentioned in your introduction, they use the latest equipment themselves. The
yes, they are. Yes.
So in order to penetrate them and monitor them, there is no doubt that we need to have maybe 2-3 times more intelligent instruments of intelligence to monitor that. So whatever, I think China is with us and we ourselves have these capabilities, but no doubt the challenge is very huge.
Yes.
But we must, there could be some kind of a procedural reviews that we need to take. We must do that. So from this, we should not do this thing that, well, since it is a very, very difficult and tedious task, so it must continue to happen the way it is happening. I think we need to take stock of things at home.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely
that,
right.
Absolutely
Absolutely right.
improved.
Mohammad Ali Beg, sir, but do you not think that the terrorists, with the backing of the inimical forces, they're systematically actually targeting the police and the law enforcement agencies, the intelligence entities and armed forces particularly, and institutions, and this is not only limited to the armed terrorist attacks, but also to malign them through the propagation of so-called political entities, the social media and the traditional media means even. So how to counter all these problems which are arising actually?
Well, today we live in a world where the spread of information is very rapid and you just cannot stop.
Obviously.
The social media is there, you know it, and on the top of that, artificial intelligence has provided not you, not me, but everyone with the same opportunity which can be turned into a capability. When you have the capability and the capacity, only one thing determines, and that is your intention. They have the intention, and their intentions are very clear. We are very clear about their intentions because we have seen so many things. You are talking about the soft means. Yes, of course, we have a counter narrative that is working very effectively. And now, if you could see that the support that existed in the past here isn't there anymore. Now we are very clear about these things. Now I think personally, this is my opinion, maybe I could wrong, this is the prime time for Pakistan to take a decisive action. You know what Israel is doing in the Middle East, not just in Palestine, it is doing in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iran, it's doing it everywhere. Likewise, Russia is doing the same thing, just in the name of its national interest and to maintain and ensure its national security. I think in the eyes of international law, we are equal. Judicially, we are equal. And we have the same right to exercise in the name of self-defense.
Definitely, you are absolutely right, but that needs economic muscles for that matter.
No, I disagree with that because it requires specifically, as you just said earlier, that precision strikes.
Yeah, definitely, it is, no doubt about that.
And we have that capability. I think it's time to use that capability. And if you talk about our economic, of course, I agree with that. We are not doing
as we had done earlier in Afghanistan. So
yeah, exactly.
that is direly needed.
I think it's a time to do that again, and with an iron hand. You just said that you talked about propaganda. You know, propaganda is the first instrument of war.
Yes, of course.
Goebbels exist everywhere. Goebbels has not died. He may have died physically, but his soul is everywhere.
But actually, he has set a precedent, so that most of them are following actually.
Of course, he is.
So, your point well taken. Brigadier GHAZANFAR, terrorist entities intend to target other ethnicities inside Balochistan or the people from other provinces, especially the businessman community, the company owners, the truck drivers, the miners, ordinary laborer or others. It is it to create fissures among the Pakistanis across the country, or they intend to push other ethnicities away from Balochistan and want to hamper different provincial development projects and all that?
Faisal, I'll give you one practical example, the two examples, rather, you can compare them. We had in 1973, there was an insurgency in 1973 when Zulfikar Bhutto's government was there and Akbar Bukti was the chief minister. And there was insurgency first in Kalat, Sarab, Soro, Khazdar, and then it shifted to Mari Bukti agency, which was ahead of Lorai. It was Dera Bukti, Fazal Chil, Kahan, Mari Bukti area. And the army was there, and it remained there for about good 2.5 years. And finally, there was an operation, which was the Shamalong operation, which was undertaken, and there all those people, all those terrorists who were involved into that, Ali Gul Thiani, Ghulam Rasool Zingi, and all those, they were arrested and they lay down before Bhutto, and then Bhutto provided them with some of the development projects in Mari Bukti agency. So the insurgency finished. Now, in the whole of that insurgency, there was no threat in Quetta, there was no threat in Zob, there was no threat in Kalat, there was no threat in Mastum. The people, all those people, whether Punjabi, whether Sindhi, they were living peacefully. This time, when this insurgency started, The only thing Pakistan and you have one has to witness that the reign of Sardars is going away gradually in Balochistan, and reign of ethnicity is coming, taking over. I mean, the provinces
You are
on the
right,
basis of
definitely.
ethnicity, which is being exploited by these terrorist groups, they are taking over. What happened? It's not of today. For the last 10 to 11 years, most of the people who were residing in Quetta, in Masnoom, in Zob, they were being targeted, and they shifted from those places to Pawa, to Karachi or to Lahore. The efforts which could have been taken at that time, which could have been the political effort. Remember that the operations, if you undertake, the operations are operations, the physical operations at times escalate violence, and they also strengthen separatist tendencies. Along with the operation, you have to take political and developmental initiatives. You have to provide utilities. I mean, if there was something in Gawadar, they put up some demand. They said they give us the road, give us the fishing rights. These were their demands: control of fishing rights, investment in education. You'll be
Absolutely right. Absolutely right, Brigadier Sahib. You are absolutely right, because without political dispensation and the sense of political ownership among the people, it is very difficult. And you have raised a very important point. On this point particularly, Brigadier Sahib, whether it's true that the terrorists are working on multi-layered approach at the political front, using their wings like Baloch Solidarity Movement, so-called Baloch Solidarity Committee, as described by former BLA terrorist Talat Aziz, using youth to propagate their message of hate and violence against the state, recruit them to become a terrorist, and then portray their innocence while using media propagation, social media influence, specific literature, online tools, and then using them as a tool getting international sympathies by propagating it as a human right issue and the missing persons issue. Most of the missing persons are utilized as a suicide bomber or a fighter against the security forces in Balochistan.
I mean, there was a congressional hearing in the U.S. Foreign Relations Committee in 2012. What did they take? They took up the Balochistan issue at that point of time, and it has been started from since then. And you are absolutely right. You had a militant commander who laid arms, and his interview was there. About last week, he said that I was the Punjab University students. I was in Punjab University, and I was motivated there. What did the Marang Baloch saying? She gave an interview to Mehdi Hassan about a week back. What did she say? I mean, all these things. Now you will be amazed to know that some of
Brigadier Sahib, you have just pointed out Marang Baloch, Dr. Marang Baloch. He was actually heading that Balochistan Solidarity Committee, and she had a lot of press conferences, and our viewers are just witnessing at the screen right now that Marang Baloch, right behind her, the photo of Rafiq Bazinjo. Rafiq Bazinjo was actually categorized as a missing person since 2015, but recently in the Quetta blast, he was the suicide bomber, and he was identified, and he has a photo in which he is wearing all the gadgets and all the uniform, whatever that belongs to the US Marines, and the weapons and the whatever the explosives were used, that was also belongs to the third country.
Yes, exactly. I told you the Americans left the weapons intentionally, and all those incidents which have been taken place after the withdrawal of the American forces of Afghanistan, the American NVGs, American laser guided weapon, American helmet, American rifle, all those have been used and they have been recovered. Americans are fully involved into the Balochistan trouble because they knew why they were leaving the weapons. How did those weapons go into the hand of the terrorists who were fighting against Pakistan along with the help of the Afghan government, which is says they are Muslim, but they are taking the blood of the Muslims in Pakistan also. And moreover, that social media you have talked about. I'd like to narrate a very different thing. It is that in 1780s there was some of the syllabus which was in Brohi language, which was sent to the federal government. It was the question of the 80s to be implemented in the Balochistan and the Turbat area, because in Turbat you speak Brohi and all that. And that syllabus contained anti-Pakistan things in that syllabus. And nobody probably knew the Brohi language in the federal government. So they approved it, and that was being taught in Turbat. Recently, Pakistan Army wanted to open a cadet college in Barohi. The level of the girls' education is so much that they demanded that the girls' education college should be open. The first road was made there during the Pervez Musharraf government. So what I mean to say is that whatever is happening there now, the educated youth, it is coming to in this struggle, and you will be amazed to know that one brother is in the Balochistan in the terrorist outfit, and the other brother is serving the Balochistan government. Like you see the Akhtar Mangal and the Javed Mangal.
This is unfortunate, really. Your point well taken, Brigadier Sahab, well elaborated. Dr. Ghulam Mujaddid Sahab, what urgently required to prevent our educated youth from becoming fodder of the terrorist entities? Because these terror organizations using youth frequently, as Brigadier Sahab pointed out very well, for political purposes, the intelligence gathering, then the data analytics, then the spreading the message as facilitator, fighter, or the suicide missions, while also to have close look at those who act as a facilitator, who are in our ranks, as Brigadier Sahab is rightly pointing out, that they are in the government, they are serving the government, as well as they are gathering the intelligence as well. So part of our society, integrated in our system, but acting like eyes and ears of the terror outfits, like Peshawar police lines and the Quetta railway station attack, were primarily an insider's job. So how you describe this grave situation?
Youth as such are very vital for any society.
No doubt.
Because they can innovate well, they are motivated, they can bring in tolerance, they can bring in love, mutual trust. This is the youth. This is the characteristic of youth.
Definitely.
And the nations who face these divisive problems, they must cultivate youth so that with this thing, who are more innovative, courageous, they are more tolerant, and they understand the diversity. They go for the nation building. They go for interfaith harmony. They love each other's religion and the cultures. Now in Pakistan, the ones who are poisoned by these organizations are very small in number.
Definitely.
But we are a nation, and these youth have to be taken that way, that they are the vital parts, and we have to invest in them. And it is not just a proverbial thing that I am saying, it is that in the youth have universal characteristics of harmony, integration, and all that. And this is done through proper education and our civil society, the ones who are there, think tanks, the organizations, you have mentioned few organizations that are there and all that. We have hundreds of them within our, each province and everywhere, who can work for education, they can work for interfaith harmony, they can work, the civil society organization from Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa should go to Balochistan and do these things. Our think tanks must, there should be chapters.
It's our national responsibility.
This is our national responsibility, because it is a very vital asset that is with us.
No doubt.
And if they are being hunted by the terrorist organization, well, they are far and few, but there are multitudes of them that provide us the opportunity to bring our nation together.
No doubt, no doubt. Mohammad Ali Baig sahab, what it means when after Quetta railway station heinous attack, federal and provincial governments decided to strengthen security measures across Balochistan and take the fight to the terrorists with the full force of law, ongoing intelligence-based operations, resources and capacity of the security forces will be expended to eliminate these terrorist networks. What it means actually?
Yeah, this is exactly what I was referring to earlier. If you don't establish forward operating bases, you don't operate, you could not operate. If you don't have outposts in the remote areas, then you are actually giving a free hand to the terrorists to operate and roam freely. There will be no force that could hinder their operations. This is exactly what I was referring to earlier, that we need to strike, and we need to strike in a very decisive manner, because enough is enough today. I think that we have seen the footages which have surfaced from aftermath of those heinous attacks. I think it's unbearable, and nobody, no sane person could actually bear that kind of person. Just imagine about the families and the bereaved people who have suffered those things. I think that as I've said earlier, that it is the prime time for Pakistan and Pakistan statecraft to decide it in a very clear and in a very vivid manner that we need to strike. And you know, the things are there. We have the evidence. We have everything that enables and justifies our operations in those areas.
So, very short, if you what do you think about, there is an Institute of Peace Studies report recently came about the terrorist activities across the country. So, that tells a horrible picture that in October alone, there was 100 lives lost, 48 terrorist attacks, 35 in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, 9 in Balochistan, while 4 in Sindh and in Punjab. So, it's the phenomena which is hitting hard nationally. So, do you think that we have to tackle it nationally? We have, every bit of institution has the responsibility. Every citizen has the responsibility. We have to act like a Pakistani for Pakistan, for the prosperous future of our future generations, particularly who are educated youth of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and rest of the provinces.
That is very true. And we are very heartened that our armed forces and law enforcement agencies are doing their whatever is possible against this thing.
Yeah.
What we need to then substantiate this militant response with the soft response also. And vis-a-vis Afghanistan, we need to go beyond the security metrics, and a nation has many elements of national power with which it achieves and shapes things in its favor.
Definitely.
And those are diplomacy, the cultural context, the political context that we have. What I mean to say is that our armed forces are doing what they are doing, and it's an excellent, we had
Police and CTD is doing an excellent job, the intelligence agencies are all doing excellent.
What we need to employ is the elements of diplomacy, politics, culture, people-to-people contacts, organizational contacts, civil organizational contacts with Afghanistan. Because we should not leave Afghanistan free for India or else.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. We have run short of time. Thank you very much, Dr. GHULAM MUJADDID sir, for being here in the studios. Thank you very much, BAIG sir, for your presence. And thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Saeed GHAZANFAR SHAH sir, for your presence online and very elaborative views. No doubt about that. Viewers, as you have just listened to our panelists, it is important that China-Pakistan friendship, the ironclad friendship, no doubt about that. And recently, the Chinese military leadership, the political leadership, their foreign office, everyone has cleared that whosoever is the enemy of Pakistan-China friendship will be dealt ironically. So the thing is, it is very clear. But we have to take our responsibilities. We have to be very much hardened on that aspect, that we have to fight this terrorism. This scourge of terrorism must have to be rooted out from across Pakistan. Balochistan is the heart of Pakistan. The Baloch youth, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa youth, and wherever the youth is living in Pakistan, they are the future of Pakistan. And we have to focus at this future if we want to be prosperous, developed and peaceful country. And along with that, we have to give rights to the people. That is very important point raised by our panelists. So women and youth, which are targeted by the terrorist entities just because that they are vulnerable. So we have to take care of this segment, and I think so in that particular perspective, government, the armed forces of Pakistan, the law enforcement agencies, the CTD, police, intelligence agencies, they are doing an excellent job. But on that front, the nation must have to be united. We have to be synchronized with our all institutions so that we can fight this menace and get rid of it. And definitely we have to use diplomacy, and we have to go outside the world as well to convince them that this is the scourge of terrorism which is happening in Pakistan, and whatever is happening is from Afghan soil, and world has to take care of it, because this is the issue which is also inflicting pain to the regional countries. Regional countries must have to be at the same platform, and we have to deal at the diplomatic level regarding India as well. So this is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz Nasir.